Hi, I'm Miriam Joy, and welcome to my studio. Today we're going to be working on what I call the Princess Pumpkin, and you can kind of see why we call it that. This is the year of the pumpkin. I'm doing a lot of pumpkins out of the foam pumpkin that you pick up from the dollar store, so run out there and get all your pumpkins and come see all the wonderful things we're doing with them this year. I did notice when I picked them up, I picked mine up at Dollar Tree, there was a difference between, there was two types. This one is a smoother type, and there was one that was just a little bit more coarse, and you could kind of see the stuff in it. So kind of look at that, check that out. You do want the smooth one. So once I got the pumpkin, I went ahead and I colored my pumpkin, and I used multi-surface paint, and I used the color lavender. And you might need 2 coats. This, because it's multi-surface, it goes on nice and thick, so probably about 2 coats on that to cover the pumpkin completely, and then start to let him dry. And once you've got him going, we can go ahead and move on to some other things you can do while he is drying, like our leaves. And our leaves we're going to make out of burlap. But instead of the sacks, I like to use the ribbon, and I've got a bow here. And because it's stiffer, so get some that's stiffer, and it's got enough room in it that you can cut out your leaf shapes. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut 2 nice sized leaves out of our burlap. You can make them as wide, that one's a little bit thinner, and then turn it around and make the next one. And if you go at the angle that the ribbon is, you really don't waste that much at all. And I found, like I said, that I like it regular than the plain burlap. It's just got that extra stiffness to it. So I've gone ahead and we've cut our 2 leaves out, and we're going to go ahead and color those. And again, I'm going to be using the multi-surface colored paint, and I'm going to be using lime green for my main color and classic green for my second color. And I'm just going to put a little bit of that paint down on my palette. And I'm going to use kind of a rough brush, not one of my really good ones. And I'm just going to wet it just a little bit, just so that the paint can kind of go into the leaf. And if you need to wet it a little bit more, then wet it a little bit more. And then flip it over and go ahead and do that other side. Go ahead and do both of those real quick here. And just a tad bit more paint. And flip them over and do the back side. Now, while those are still wet, we're going to go ahead and put another layer of paint on those. We're going to kind of shade them, and I'm going to use classic green. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it pretty much into my brush, but not on the very ends. And I'm going to kind of put that paint at the bottom of the leaf and just kind of walk that out. We can kind of see that here. We'll do it again. We'll flip it over and we'll do it again. Just put that paint in there and just kind of walk that paint out. Put one on our other leaf, same thing, just blending the 2 colors together is basically what we're doing. And then we're going to go ahead and let those dry. And while those are drying, we're going to go ahead and start coloring our pumpkin stem. And our pumpkin stem we're going to do with metallic silver. And what I did is I matched my metallic pen with whatever color metallic paint I want to do my stem. I picked up a bronze, gold, and silver. So if you wanted to do gold or something different, you can go ahead and get the color that matches your pin. But I'm going to go ahead and base coat my paper twist, unless you can find it in a silver or the color that you want, or also if you're a weaver or something, your paper rush. And I'm going to undo it all the way, and then I'm going to base coat those in silver. So I did about 6 inches maybe of the paper twist or paper rush, and I'm just base coating it with silver metallic, and I'm doing both sides. And the reason you're going to do both sides is because if we turn it a certain way, one side might show, and more so your outside is going to show more so than the inside. But we're just going to go ahead and do both of those, and then we're going to let those dry. Now another thing I did, while these guys were still wet and I just had painted them, I went ahead and put some gold gold glitter on them, and it'll go right into that wet paint. And I did both sides of those just a little bit, just to give it that extra little sparkle. You could also put some silver, and I probably would do it with a little bit of glue or the silver paint onto the glitter paint onto the stem if you wanted to. So I'm going to clean everything up, and we're going to get ready to float color on our pumpkin. I did find some brush on glitter. This one is called Gems by Folk Art. I'm going to go ahead and put it on one side of the silver, and just to give it that sparkle. And it's kind of got a purple shine to it, so it's going to fit in perfect with this project. And in fact, I'm just going to pour that on there, and then we'll continue to let that dry while we work on our pumpkin. Okay, so we'll set that off to our side. Now, those of you that have not floated color before, we're going to use a gel blending medium, and if you know how to do it with water, then do it with water. That's fine. If you haven't done it in the past, this is the easiest way to do it. And I laid out some onto my plate, and I'm just going to work that into my brush, and I'm going to be using a darker color. And on this one, this is Purple by Delta, so it's just a dark color to accent the color that I'm using. So any darker purple that accents what the color that we put on is great. And we're going to load that about halfway in the brush, not all the way. And then what we're going to do is we're going to walk that out, blend that out, and you should be going from a lot of paint to no paint. And I actually do have a video on how to blend that goes into a little bit more detail, and make sure we post that up there for you so you have a link to follow. Now on this pumpkin we're going to do in the creases, but I noticed that some of these have double creases. So if you have an area where the crease has a crease, don't do it there because it starts to get to be too much. So we just want to do it in the full complete creases. And we're going to put our color on one side, and you'll probably have to reload after that, and let that side dry. I went and did all of one side all the way around, and then came back and did the other side after those were dry. And what we're going to do is we're going to bump those up next to each other. And what I mean is we're going to put it right next to that, so the color on this side's blending out that way, and on this side it's blending out the other direction. And if you do the whole pumpkin, by the time you get around to where you started, it will be dry enough that you won't even have to worry about it. And you're not going over it, you're just bumping up to it, so it ought to be just fine. And you want to start clear up at the stem, the bottom where it sits. You don't have to go all that way down there, but we want to go all the way up to the stem. So there we have our floating on our pumpkin. And what this does is it really makes the shadow of the pumpkin curve show up even more, so the ridge really looks rounded. So that's a reason that we do that. And then once you've got that done and that's dry enough, we're going to go ahead and start putting on our pumpkin designs. And all I did, I used a metallic Sharpie. I'm going to start on the side that I don't have dry, and think about what's underneath, so you don't kind of want to go completely under the pumpkin. And we're just going to kind of do different swirls here and there all the way up. I'm just going to do a base and then just add swirls to it. Just fun swirl patterns. They don't have to be the same. In fact, it's probably easier if they're not. Just all kind of fun swirls. Kind of do the other one, maybe start him off a different direction, bring him all the way up. And if you need help, go Google swirls on your computer and it'll bring you up a lot of swirls. And we're just going to keep on adding here. And you want to do it all the way up. Now we're going to add some glitter up here, so think about, you don't want to cover up all that hard work if you do that. So another thing to fill these kind of up, I've kind of do like 3 descending dots. I do dot, dot, dot with my pen. And what that does, it just kind of fills in any area that needs just a little bit more in it, but not maybe a swirl. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that on all of the sides, and then we'll get started from there. Now that you've got all of your swirls and designs put on, you can see it's really starting to look more princess-like. It would be real cute to turn it into a little carriage, a Cinderella carriage too. So now we're going to put the glitter on the middle, and I'm just going to kind of do it on the top just to kind of clean everything off, but to give it that sparkle that we want to add to it. So I'm just going to kind of come in, and I want it higher and lower, and I'm not really going outside that kind of inside layer there. And I'm going to come back with my finger and spread it out in a minute. And just here and there, no right or wrong on it. Like I said, we don't want it going real far out. We're just going to keep it kind of in. So I've got that all laid down. So I'm going to come in with my finger now and just kind of smooth it out, whiten it, just kind of make it kind of like a water drop looks after it's kind of splashed. That's what we're kind of after. Paper towel here, and now we're going to put our glitter over the top of it. I found 3 packs of glitter, and I don't have them with me, at the dollar store, and they were extra fine glitter, and they were Halloween colors, and they were purple, black, and orange. And man, I wish I bought a few more of those. I have used those up. But we're going to put a purple glitter on it. If you wanted to do, my other one kind of has a pinkish purple color. If you wanted to do silver, you could do silver, whatever color you thought Would be a nice accent color for our princess pumpkin. So we're just going to give that a couple of shakes, dump it onto our file folder. Our file folder is there to catch our glitter. And then we're just going to dump it right back in the container. Give it a couple of taps and in it goes. And then you don't make that much of a mess at all. Keeps the glitter kind of confined. Now, if you'd like to let this dry and then spray varnish it, that's a really good thing to do to help keep the glitter and everything on at this time. I would do it with gloss to keep the glitter really, really shiny. Just test your, I didn't have my Sharpie didn't run at all, but just make sure that doesn't run. Now on our stem, we're going to cut these guys at an angle, the top parts, and we're going to glue them around our stem. You want to cover up that stem as much as possible. Get that nice and covered up. And bring that up just a little bit on the sides where that other one's going to be coming up. Get him glued all the way there. And then you're going to twist them a little bit. And you can twist these into 2 individual ends, which I like to do. To me, it just kind of makes them more realistic, kind of viney looking, and you give it that more magical kind of feel. And I shouldn't be messing with this too much, but we'll just go ahead and keep on moving forward here. Now I took the 2 leaves that I had, and they are dry now, and what I did with them is I took my permanent magic marker and I put the veins in the leaves. You could do it with paint if you wanted to, that is okay, but I like to do it with my permanent magic marker. And of course you want the point to be at the light end, not the dark end. And then we're going to glue these on. So we've got the stem going that way, so I'm going to hot glue them on to my pumpkin on this side. And then I found some little berries, some little purple berries that were in a pick at the dollar store as well. And I also picked up some floral wire there too. And I want to make kind of our curlicue out of our floral wire, excuse me. Just going to cut it, and I'm going to wrap it around. I'm going to wrap it around my paintbrush because that's what I've got. Otherwise you could use a pencil or whatever you wanted to. Just make sure you kind of stick those tips in really good so they don't poke anybody. I'm going to do both ends. Have it get real small there. And then kind of flatten it right there. We're going to glue that there. And then we're just going to put our little purple berries on top, which just gives it that little kind of magical feel. And I do like the glitter on this stem as well. I think that really adds to it. But that is pretty much how we do our princess pumpkin. And I thought this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing this one, and I can think of our little girls and how happy they would be to have something like that. Now we'll also put up the link for the boa wreath, which is just made out of dollar boas from the dollar store. It's really simple and really fast. And then you can just set your pumpkin inside of that. That's all we did with the one that we have here on the table as well, is just simply set that in. So please let me know if you have any questions about anything we've done today at art@miriamjoy.com. Come over to our new Facebook page at Miriam Joy's Waxy Crafty Corner, where we're putting up all these fun projects for you, as well as nice pictures so you can see them up close. Thank you. God bless.